Hi, good evening, everyone. I am McKenna from Murder by the Book in Houston, Texas, and I am really excited that we have the opportunity to host a really cool event tonight. This was going to be a featured evening at Bouchercon in New Orleans, but with Bouchercon being canceled, this Crime Writers of Color reception obviously was canceled as well. So it's pretty cool that we're being able to move it virtually. We're going to have a really cool list of authors joining us for readings and previewing some upcoming books. So I really hope you enjoy it tonight. I think we're all in for a treat. I'm just going to get introductions underway. We're actually going to be joined by Kellye, Garrett, and Segura, who are going to be our MCs for the night, our ringmasters. So hi, Kellye. Hi, Alex.
Hi McKenna. There. Thank you so much for doing this for us. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, really happy to be here.
We were like so bummed when it got canceled, even though obviously we understood and it was the safest thing to do. So.
Oh yeah, and now with the hurricane coming into New Orleans, like
so scary.
Yeah,
so scary.
It's totally, I'm sure, for the best, but I'm glad that all this effort that you guys went to and the coordination isn't wasted. And we're going to be joined by some pretty great readings and everything tonight. So let me do your bios really quickly, and then I'm going to get off the screen and let you guys go to work. So Kellye Garrett is the acclaimed author of the upcoming Like a Sister, coming out from Mulholland Books. No one bats an eye when a disgraced reality TV star is found dead in the Bronx, except her estranged half-sister, whose refusal to believe the official story leads her on an increasingly dangerous search for the truth. Now, I am very much abridging bios tonight.
That's fine.
We're not even reading them. So.
Segura is the SVP, Sales and Marketing at Oni Press, and the author of Star Wars Poe Dameron Freefall and the acclaimed Pete Fernandez mystery series. He's also written a number of comic books, most notably the superhero noir, The Black Ghost, the YA music series, The Archies, and the Archie Meets collection of crossovers. You also have a really cool book coming out in March, I believe. So hopefully you'll get a chance to tell us about that in a little bit. I don't think we're going to be doing a question portion tonight, so we've got a great crowd watching.
Well, if people do have questions, they totally should put it in the comments, and we'll definitely, because in between the readers, we're going to kind of discuss some stuff, so we can definitely answer questions if they have.
Okay, if we have some questions, I'll pop them in on the screen, or I might appear. We'll keep it a little loosey-goosey. We'll see how it goes. Anyway.
Little jazz improv.
If I pop up on the screen, all of a sudden that means there's some kind of relevant question, and we'll just roll with it. John from the bookstore is behind the scenes handling the PowerPoint, and I'll be doing banners and questions, and we'll just make a fun evening of it. Okay, I'm going away now, though, so you guys have a great time.
Thanks so much, McKenna.
Thank you so much. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Kellye. How's it going?
It's going great. I have a makeup on. I got my little headband on. You guys want to see my shirt? It says, "Tomorrow isn't promised. Custom out today."
I like it. I think
that's my attitude.
It's a good vibe to have this year in a year.
So. I mean, I think so. Others might not. So,
I agree. I'm feeling it. So we've got a really special evening set up, and I'm so amazed that it came together really last minute. And big thanks to Murder by the Book for having us, and John and McKenna for doing the tech stuff for us and making something that was such a big idea for Crime Writers of Color into some kind of reality, even though Bouchercon was canceled, rightfully so, making sure everyone stays safe. But do you want to talk a little bit about how this came together initially when we were all talking about the idea for an event?
Sure. I have to give full credit to Ray James, who is an author. I think R. Franklin James is her pen name. And so she was, I think, the lead on Bouchercon last year. And so she's still on the board. So her, along with Tracy Clark, Angie Kim, Cheryl Head, they're all both Bouchercon board members and also members of Crime Writers of Color. And so they kind of came to us like, we really think it would be a great idea. Bouchercon sponsored Underrepresented Voices presented by Crime Writers of Color. And, you and me and Gigi Pondine, who's coming on a little bit later, Mia Manansala, Delia Pitts, we were all kind of like jumping on it. That was like the conference group. And we're just super excited to kind of highlight it, and I think that, you couldn't have done an event like this at Bouchercon even 2 or 3 years ago, definitely 4 or 5 years ago, so the idea, we were supposed to have about like 30 plus authors, and to have 30 plus authors of color at Bouchercon was, I think, probably the most we would have had. Also marginalized, queer as well. I don't want to forget them. So just it was just going to be such a great event. And the great thing is that we'll be doing it next year in Minneapolis. So huge thanks to Terry Bischoff and the crew who's doing it, the Bouchercon there.
And hopefully it'll become part of just Bouchercon.
I think that would be amazing. And they would just get bigger and bigger until it's just like 100 people. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and I think it was, even though it's not happening in person, it's still a huge step forward for, Bouchercon and for the community as a whole. So it's important that I'm glad we're having it in some fashion.
Yeah.
And so, John, I'm just gonna call out John's name now and again because he's in the back, working the stuff. But I think we're gonna bring up Gigi to talk a little bit more about Crime Writers of Color, and I've got 2 of the 3 co-founders here. I'm just a very diligent volunteer.
Very, very diligent. He's definitely very diligent. So don't downplay it.
No, yeah, I'm just a scrub. But I'd love to hear more about how the organization came to be and how some of the strides that you've all taken moving it forward.
First, can I introduce Gigi? Gigi Bondian,
yes.
If you guys don't know, she is an award. She has an Agatha. You have an Anthony, right?
I do.
She has an Anthony, and so she did the Jaya Jones series, and so her new one, Under Lock and Skeleton Key, comes out in March. And the cool thing is that all 3 of us have books coming out in March, so we're super excited to be able to do events and stuff together. And so I think we're just listed in library journals.
Yeah, that was cool.
Rising Stars. So if you have library journal, definitely check it out because you'll see more information about all 3 of our books. So. Hi, Gigi.
Hi.
So thanks again to Murder by the Book for hosting us tonight. This is very exciting. And Alex and Kellye for hosting tonight. But so I'm just popping on the screen for just a couple minutes just to give our audience just a little bit of background on Crime Writers of Color and what the organization is and how we came to be. So basically, Crime Writers of Color is an informal group of now over 300 established and emerging crime writers of color. And it was founded in 2018 by Kellye, Garrett, and Walter Mosley and myself. But I do have to say, Kellye seriously is the driving force who is amazing and at just bringing people together. She's a tireless champion of authors. And so she is really the glue that we needed to bring all these ideas that we were talking about together. And so even a couple years before the official founding, Kellye and I met each other because we shared the same publisher. Mm-hmm. And so I got to know her. And so we were just chatting about the fact that we really needed a group like this because whenever we go to mystery events, we just didn't see people who looked like us. It's not a very diverse group of folks. And also in our reading material, we grew up reading things not seeing, all of the diversity that we knew we would in this genre that we loved so dearly, that we didn't see enough of this. And so we were just talking about the need for a group like this because folks of color, who don't see themselves, who aren't as comfortable to do things, to come to events where they might not be welcomed, and also having unique challenges in navigating the publishing world. So just to be able to bring folks together so that we could share information, commiserate and cheer each other on, and just learn from each other and network, and just be able to have that safe space to talk. So it just started as this listserv. But so Kellye and I were talking, and then Kellye met Walter Mosley, and so the 2 of them were talking as well. And so we just we came together to have this informal group. But one of the amazing things, in addition to just having that space to lift each other up and support each other, the last thing I'll say is that everything is just volunteers. So folks like Alex and so many people that have already been mentioned, just saying, hey, should we have a website? Should we have a podcast? Do you need an events coordinator? Do you need a bookstore coordinator, a library coordinator?
It's amazing.
People just volunteering their time just to help out everyone and to lift each other up. So it is just such an amazing group, and you can read more about it at crimewritersofcolor.com. And there's now so many pages that you can explore thanks to our wonderful volunteers. And if you are a writer of color working on mystery crime fiction and would like to join, there's actually a link there for more information. So
yeah. I think people always are surprised that we're not a competitive group of people, but I think we all kind of realize the victory for one of us is a victory for all of us, so the success of you guys' book is going to mean more books for other people. The success of people like Sean Cosby or Rachel Housel Hall means success for us. So it's just we just know it's so hard that it's just important for us to stick together and kind of lift each other up. So.
Yeah, it's a big win for everybody. It's very much a cheering group But Gigi, we're not going to let you escape without telling us about your book, because Kellye's going to talk about hers and I'll talk about mine. We'll get rolling. But
And I love that too, that we all have that was that amazing coincidence that like, or was it, like it all came together magically that we all get to have our books out in March next year. So
mine's actually coming out on my birthday, which is bizarre.
Seriously?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
March 15th. Yeah.
That's amazing. I know. And we all get to celebrate separately because I think we're stacked like in a row.
I think I'm the 8th, 15th, 22nd.
22nd. Yep. And we all have different publishers, so it wasn't like a thing. So I love the magic of this, how it came together, which is like apt because there is a female magician in my book. So yes. So
tell me more.
Yes. So,
she has her galleys. I'm jealous.
So yes, I have my art. So it's a multicultural culinary cozy mystery wrapped in a locked room mystery that pays homage to classic mystery fiction, because I love the golden age of mystery fiction when there's all those devious, impossible crimes and things. So I wanted to write that, but with my own modern twist on it. And so it's the first in new series coming from St. Martin's Minotaur next March, as we mentioned. And so it stars Tempest Raj. And also for existing readers of my Jaya Jones Treasure Hunt mystery series, you will be happy to know that Sanjay from that series plays a big part in this new series as well. So this book kicks off my new Secret Staircase mystery series.
I love it. I love how it's all connected.
Gigi's modest. She's like I feel like the modern queen of locked room mysteries, which are impossible crimes. I learned from your book. And she had her Agatha and her Anthony, I think, is because of your short stories that are like locked room, right?
The Anthony was actually for a novel. So the
Agatha was it for an
yes.
So come on, Kellye.
Anthony is for a novel, but my Agatha is for one of one of my impossible crime short stories. So those were both like such honors to get. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
I can't
you
wait
so
to read
much,
it.
Gigi. It was really good. I read it. I begged her for a copy. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous.
I am jealous. Yeah.
I know cool people.
Thank you, Gigi.
Okay, well, I will step back now, and I look forward to watching the rest of this. So
thanks, Gigi.
All right, I'm not going to
get to the reading. We should get to the reading. I feel like
I want to hear you talk about your book, and I will talk about mine.
I'll tell you.
There's no getting out of it.
I'll tell you where the idea came from. This came from a Daily News headline, and it was about literally the headline was "Pregnant reality star found dead in the Bronx with cocaine and no pants," which I thought was a very disrespectful headline.
Yeah.
It was about a Black woman, and I don't think they would have done that for a Kim Kardashian type person. And so I was kind of just very fascinated by that headline. And then I was kind of like, why would this person who was like partying it up in downtown Manhattan end up in the Bronx? And if you've been to New York, you know the Bronx and Manhattan are close, really, but they're far apart when it comes to everything else. And I remember like walking down the street, like by Rockefeller Center, and I go, oh, she went to visit her sister and she didn't make it. And so the story is told from the POV of her estranged sister who feels guilty. They haven't spoken in 2 years. And she's kind of like, why did my sister try to come see me and why didn't she make it? And so that's kind of the driving force of
that first chapter, which I've heard you read it live.
I read it 500 times, you guys.
It's fantastic. I mean, the whole book's fantastic, but when that first chapter, that'll pull you in a second.
Thank you. And what about Secret Identity, which also will pull you in a second?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. Secret Identity blends my two favorite things, which is noir and comic books. And it's about a Cuban woman, Carmen Valdez, who moves to New York in 1975 to work in comics. It's her dream. She grew up reading comics with her dad when she and her parents moved to Miami from Cuba. But she can't get a gig. She can't get any traction. So she's working a secretarial job at this very kind of third-rate comic book publisher called Triumph Comics, and she tries pitching stories to her boss, who's the editor and publisher, and he basically says, look, I have a line of my friends around the office that I can give stories to, and it's just not going to happen. So a young colleague approaches her and says, can you ghostwrite the story with me? We'll eventually give you credit, but I know you want to write. We'll make this happen for you, and we'll eventually give you the credit you deserve. And so she co-writes this new character called the Legendary Lynx. It becomes a huge hit in comics, but her collaborator is murdered. So she has to basically put on the hat of amateur detective and solve the murder to solve the murder of her friend, but also reclaim this idea. And there's going to be actual comic book pages in the novel. So you're reading the prose and then you dive into the world. the comic book she's created in the story. And those are illustrated by Sandy Jarrell, who's absolutely amazing. And I hope it works.
I read that one as well because I have really cool friends, and I just love how you kind of marry. Like I'm not as into comics, but I'm super into mysteries, and so I kind of felt like I was like kind of getting an inside peek at the comics world in the world of the 70s of New York, which is very different than Disney Times Square right now. But
yeah,
also,
no,
I got my murder fix, which I always need to have in a book, so it's really good.
That was a great test because I wanted you're such a voracious mystery reader. I wanted that kind of reader to see if they would enjoy it as opposed to someone that's a super comic book person. But
I'm sure both sides do. So
I hope, yeah, we'll find out in March for both of us. So.
March, I know it's kind of scary.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about format. So we're going to have a lot of great readers that I'm sure you've heard about just perusing the event page, but we're also going to spotlight different groups by subgenre of crime, and we'll be talking a little bit about their books. And I recommend you have a pen and paper out or typing quickly so you can add to your to-read pile, because we're going to go through a lot of great books. We're going to hear some short readings from, I think, the cream of the crop in terms of our groups, and it's going to be a really fun evening.
I think I tried to scare the heck out of them, like 5 minutes or else.
I'm glad you did, because I'm usually the bad cop in these scenarios.
I'm like 5 minutes or else, guys. I think I scared them. So if you guys think it's too short, it's totally my fault because I scared them too much.
I think it's good. 5 minutes is the sweet spot. And so this is going to be a little bit of a blend of presentation and noir at the bar, all under the umbrella of some really great underrepresented voices that we're excited to hear from. So I think first up we have Tori Eldridge.
So Tori, I think, is an Anthony nominee, and her third book in her long series is coming out in November. Is it coming out in November, Tori?
September 14th.
Oh, I'm messing up everything, guys. Everything. I'm so sorry.
How's it going, Tori?
It's going great. And, thanks so much for everything. I got to tell people, my crime writers of color peeps, and they keep me going. And it's just the camaraderie and support is off the charts.
It is.
It is.
The talent. Oh my God.
It's amazing. Just to celebrate all the successes that we're having. It's just so amazing. So what are you reading today? What are you going to give us a taste of?
Okay. Well, like you said, I write the Lily Wong series, and the third one is The Ninja Betrayed, where I
love the cover.
Ah, thank you. It's jade for, I've got my matching jade.
Oh, she got it going on.
I know, right? So I'm taking my Los Angeles-based Chinese Norwegian modern-day ninja sleuth to Hong Kong, right in the middle of triads and corporate disaster and romance and the pro-democracy struggle that's going on. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's intense.
So I'm reading a short chapter from the beginning, and where Lily and Ma touch down.
All right.
Ma and I hurried through the terminal to the nearest Cathay Pacific Business Lounge, stylishly appointed with its own tea house, noodle bar, and yoga sanctuary. No vinyasa yoga for me. Our flight had arrived at 6:40 p.m. Hong Kong time. Gong Gong's business party began in 20 minutes. We passed on showers and changed directly into our cocktail dresses, both smartly chosen for their wrinkle-free fabrics. Ma's lake blue dress hugged her figure in classic Cheongsam style with modern Western flair. I wore the same little black dress I'd worn on my first date with Daniel Kwok, minus the flat ankle-high boots. Ma frowned at the sturdy, flat sandals I pulled from my pack. "Didn't you bring a decent pair of pumps? We're traveling." She sighed as though my excuse were the lamest thing she had ever heard. I shrugged and heaved on my backpack, thankful I wouldn't have to teeter on through an airport on spiky heels. Ma, on the other hand, glided through the terminal with quick and graceful steps. Since Ma lived and worked in the U.S. with a green card permanent resident status and retained her Chinese citizenship and Hong Kong passport and identity card, we split up at immigration. She breezed through returning citizen line well ahead of me and was in the process of hiring a porter at baggage claim when I emerged. "I can handle it, Ma. You only have one suitcase, right?" "Are you sure? It's awfully heavy." "I'll be fine." I waved off the porter and thanked him in Cantonese and collected our luggage from the conveyor belt. As promised, hers weighed a ton. Even so, I handled both rolling cases and my backpack with ease. By the time we exited baggage claim and spotted Gong Gong's driver, I was very happy to have worn my practical sandals. "Welcome to Hong Kong," he said in English. "My name is Mr. Tam. Pleased to meet you. I'm Violet Wong, and this is my daughter, Lily." She glanced at the restroom. "Would you excuse me a moment?" "Of course, madame. Take your time." Mr. Tam smiled at me. "If you wait here for your mother, I will take the luggage and load it into the car." He hurried through the crowd, out one set of doors as a group of men in black T-shirts entered through another. They assembled quickly and raised their signs. Most were written in traditional Chinese, but the two in English read, "5 demands, not one less," and "Reclaim Hong Kong, revolution of our times." "Gayao! Gayao!" they chanted in Cantonese, pumped their signs, and waved at travelers. When I competed in wushu, we had yelled "Jiao" in Mandarin to cheer each other to victory. Both words meant "add oil," the Chinese expression of encouragement and support, a way to tell people to keep going and be strong. Foreign passengers hurried out the door. Locals paused to record the demonstrations on their phones. A handful of transit officers in blue short-sleeved shirts marched in from customs and shouted for the protesters to disband. Rather than wait for the situation to escalate, I circled around the protesters to find Ma. "Join the struggle," a man yelled in Cantonese. "The time is now to liberate Hong Kong." When I didn't answer, he shoved the handle of his sign toward me. I shouted, "Gayao!" and pumped my fist so he wouldn't wedge the sign into my hands. The transit police made another futile attempt to disband the protesters, then hurried out the way they had come. Reinforcements? Riot gear? I didn't want to wait to see. I ran around the commotion and jumped to see if I could locate Ma over the crowd, just in time to see my mother emerge from the restroom. When I jumped again, she was gone. I threaded through the protesters, elbows in, hands up to protect my ribs and face. Travelers and transit personnel pressed in from the sides. The center mass between me and Ma had compacted. Transit police shouted through bullhorns, this time dressed with full-face helmets, plastic shields, and batons. "Disband immediately!" I called Ma's name. She answered from somewhere in the crowd. I angled my arms like the prow of a ship and cut my way through the crowd, guided forward by flashes of her lake blue dress. When I reached her, I turned her back toward the restroom. "My God, Lily, what's happening? Are you okay?" "Yes!" "Into the last stall." "Why?" "The protesters are fighting back, but that could change if the cops hit them with pepper spray." "Pepper spray? They're not allowed to do that indoors." "You want to take that chance? Now, can we? Please?" "Where's Mr. Tam?" "He took our luggage to the car." "Fat lot of good he is." "Don't worry, this'll be over soon." "It better. Gong Gong's party has already begun." In the commotion, I'd forgotten all about our tight schedule. Although I didn't want Ma to be hurt, I understood her concern. The board members and clients of Hong Kong International Finance were expecting to see her at this party. I doubted any of them would consider an airport incident as an adequate excuse for her absence. "I can get us through safety if you want to leave." She exhaled with determination. "Please, okay? Grab onto my backpack and don't let go." I reached behind me to make sure Ma was there. Then I flowed between the obstacles like water and made it to the shore.
That was great.
That was such a great way to jump into it. Is that what the first chapter you said?
No, chapter 5.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
But what a great introduction. Yeah, that pulls
It
you right
actually
in.
starts in LA with an action scene. And
That's where she's from, right?
Yep, that's where she's from.
Yeah, you have to have your LA moment.
Oh, I know.
Is this, would you say it's a good jumping on point if someone hasn't read the first two?
It absolutely could.
Yeah.
The nice thing about all my books is they can be read out of order, so anyone that really gets to you, I really love this book. I really do. But if you've read them all, it's a real bonus because there's a huge evolution with the characters. Yeah.
No, I had the same philosophy with my series too. You want to make it accessible, but also additive, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You want it to appeal to your loyal fans, but also new people as well. So
Right, exactly.
Awesome.
So I hope everybody will join me. I actually release on September 14th with a virtual event right here with Murder by the Books.
Yay!
Awesome.
In conversation with the fabulous Karen Dion. And
nice.
they're going to be carrying the books. You can order them. And I'll be giving all the books will have a signed and personalized ninja stamp book plate from me.
I think I got your first book. I was at your first like your release in New York, and I think you had a stamp you actually put in the book, right?
Yep,
that's pretty cool.
I sure do. Came from my, because I have a 5th degree black belt in Toshindo ninja martial arts, and when I got my warrior name, which is Myotoshi, which means warrior of the unfathomable blade, they had I know, really cool, right? They had these Henko chops made for us in Japan, and at the time I didn't think I wanted to order one for myself. It was really expensive, but one of my high-ranking personal students bought it for me as a gift. So I stamp all of my Lily Wong books with it.
That's
so
cool.
Cool.
That's some pro stuff. That's amazing.
Makes me appreciate my autographed copy even more.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Tori. It was great to get a sneak peek, and all the authors that are reading tonight, you can order books through the store. So if you can't wait until Tori's event, you can order it right now.
Pre-orders are important, guys. Go for it.
Pre-orders are super important.
Please.
So, thanks, Tori.
Okay,
bye, Tori.
Before we get to our next reader, we're gonna peruse some really cool suspense thriller books that I've read a lot of these. I know you've read a lot of these.
I think I have read a lot of these. So.
Her name is Night. These are all great. I mean, just start jotting down these names because they're all fantastic. Her Name is Night I finished recently, or not too long ago. Miracle Creek was very much the book of last year. I think.
Do you want to Edgar?
Yeah, deservedly so. I don't think you can go wrong with an Alifair Burke book. I think this one's next on my to read.
I know she's talking about The Better Sister, but she has a new one coming out, I think.
Oh, yeah, the new one I haven't read. I've read this one.
I haven't read it yet. She promised me a copy, so Alifair, if you're watching.
Yeah. Deliver.
So.
And, I mean, Rachel is amazing, but I think These Toxic Things is just a next level book for her. It's really like a game changer, and I think she's gonna blow up even bigger. Once people start.
It's really cool. Like I just like the character in These Toxic Things. Like the idea is she does digital scrapbooks. So she's a really unique character. This Black woman, like I think when it comes to writing LA, I feel like Rachel's one of like the top people when it comes to like writing about LA. You can tell she's actually from LA. She spent time there. And so you can just see that all with These Toxic Things, and also Now She's Gone last year was so big for her as well. So.
Yeah. And when I think that I'm busy, I think about how busy she is. I know she's got a full-time job. She writes,
and she has a daughter
super early. She's got a kid too. So she's an inspiration to so many. So make sure you jot down these books down if you have not read them yet.
Also, you have to definitely check out Cheryl Head. She is really cool because it's intersectional, where she has a queer Black woman who is a PI. So she writes these really great thrillers, and it takes place.
And this is like the
Detroit.
6th one in the series, right?
Yeah, God bless her. I could only do 2 in my series, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I stopped at 5.
So Cheryl's just like another one, we're done. And Liz is really great with Tokyo Firewall. Kate's amazing because she does domestic suspense. And so her 3 Lives is about a woman who is Jamaican American, and kind of talking about. I love how she kind of threads a little racial stuff in there, but really subtly. But also, it's about like this woman who kind of gets stuck in her own house because it becomes like a fortress because her husband, kind of her fiance, just becomes so paranoid that he has like cameras everywhere watching everything.
I don't know if you guys read at the same Noir at the Bar, but she read the first chapter of this book at one of the last live Noir at the Bars, and it just had everyone like hypnotized.
He's a great writer. And I just want to talk about Yaz again. She won the Eleanor Taylor Bland Award for this book.
I was a judge.
Oh, then you know all about and I just think that's really great about it is that it talks about a serious issue in terms of trafficking, but it's also like this really awesome, cool, like assassin kick butt character, so you kind of get whenever you can kind of have social commentary, but also like really great action scenes. Because I remember I was trying to write my like climax in my book, and it was so hard. My editor was like, try again, because this did not work, So to see I'm always appreciative when people are able to do really good action scenes. So you have to definitely check out Yaz's book when it comes out.
Yeah, it just feels it's so intense. She choreographs it really well. Yeah, it's November, but I think also it's a great example of crime fiction working really well, where you can get kind of a big picture social commentary, but it's still a book you can't put down. So that it's an amazing book, and I'm so happy to see it even now before it's come out already getting the buzz it deserves.
Yeah. So this is a great group of people. Definitely check all these books out. I think they're also going to be on the Murder by the Book webpage for this event. So
yeah, they're all on the event page for sure. And our next reader is the wonderful
We're going to change it up. We're going to
Oh.
go. We're going to go a little lighter. We're going to go from action to a little bit lighter. Hi, Raquel.
Hi.
A little dose of Miami, which I am fond of.
I think there's going to be some of this in here. There's a couple of mentions in here, Alex, that I think that you'll appreciate. You'll feel a little homesick, maybe.
Good, yeah. I wish I had my little cafecito with me too.
I almost.
I love your backdrop.
It's 5 a.m. writing people. I'm
I love so many authors have like the way that they can like thread their book in the back. Like obviously I did not do that. I haven't done it yet. I should put it like right here. But I'm always appreciative of like how people can like thread their book in the back. So Raquel's really cool because I feel like she's breaking some barriers in terms of she has there's Midnight Hour too. Oh, you got both of them.
That comes out in November.
Yeah. When does Mango come out?
October 12th.
Exciting.
That's around my birthday. I gotta get it as a gift for myself. Yes,
Treat
October
yourself.
18th. I just think I want to say about Raquel. I feel like she's kind of breaking some barriers when it comes to doing a cozy with the Latinx main character. I don't think I've seen a cozy by a traditional publisher, and it's kind of sad that it's 2021 and I'm a huge cozy reader. I've been reading it for like 20, 30 years. And so to say that this is like the first one I've seen is kind of sad.
Yeah, I can relate to it a lot. There weren't a lot of Latinx PIs when I started the Peep books. And so it's great to see.
Carolina, I remember reading that book when I was
Carolina Aguilera Garcia. Yeah. She's fantastic. So I was not the first.
Look at her credit. I'm like,
yeah, for sure. Raquel, what are you going to read from?
Okay, so I am going to read from Mango, Mambo, and Murder, and I'm going to read a little snippet from chapter 17, so we're a little into the story.
Okay.
Wow, deep cut.
You're going to hear, the voice is Miriam Quinones. She's my main character. You're also going to hear Alma Diaz, her BFF. And the other name you might need to know is Robert, and Robert is Miriam's white husband. So here we go.
Awesome.
Can you believe him? I slammed Alma's car door. You need 2 cars, and the Tesla is good for the environment. Don't you dare say the environment. I held up my finger to her. I love the environment just as much as him, but $87,000? That's more than my parents make in a year. Where is he getting all that money? Is he borrowing it from Senior and Marjorie? I hope not. My head is going to explode. I just can't. I just don't. And then we're going furniture shopping today? Where is the money coming from? Chica, take a chill pill. There was a drizzle of rain and Alma put on the windshield wipers. This is Miami. And more importantly, this is Coral Shores. Status is everything. Robert's a Smith and he's working for Pimpkin Development. He has to look the part. We were outside of the fitness center. Alma put the car into park. En de verdad, so do you. So let's talk furniture. No IKEA. You hear me? Claro que no. I was thinking El Dorado, maybe something in red velvet. I stuck my tongue out at her. I thought you were serious for a second. Do you remember the Lips love seat? We both cackled. As we dashed through the rain, remembering the tacky sofa that the furniture store had advertised when we were in high school. We'd all thought it was the coolest. One of our classmates bragged she was getting it for her quince, and I think we all hated her for a few weeks. We reached the shelter of the center and shook the rain off. In the lobby, somebody had framed an image of Elliot in a tree pose from her yoga class flyer and placed it on a table. A memorial of flowers, hurricane candles, and Buddha beads encircled it. So young. Do they know the cause yet? A middle-aged woman in black leggings and an oversized shirt gazed at Elliot's picture. The similarly dressed woman with her put a potted orchid on the table. No, she just collapsed. She was the healthiest and least stressed person I've ever met. How can that happen? Maybe she had an aneurysm. My brother-in-law had one. He was cycling 1 minute and dead the next. No sign, perfectly healthy. The orchid lady tissed, and the pair walked off. Robert's cousin let something slip last night, I said in a low voice. It wasn't natural causes. Really? Did he say what it was? Alma said. She gripped my upper arm and pulled me closer. I shook my head. Excuse me, coming through, said someone with their face obscured by an armful of whole food bags. The person dropped their wet umbrella on the floor and put the paper bags on the memorial table. I lunged as the orchid fell on its side. Sympathy cards cascaded to the ground, and a candle toppled, splattering hot wax. Watch what you're doing. Be careful. I righted the plant and retrieved the cards. Who put this nonsense here? Scoffed the bag lady. It was Juliet Pimpkin. She fixed her bangs and adjusted her sunglasses. What's in the bags? Alma asked. Not that's any of your business, but I'm treating the staff to breakfast. Bagels, fruit salad, yogurt, juice, the usual. She kicked her umbrella under the table and lifted the grocery bags to her hips, bumping the table with her thigh in the process. Elliot's picture fell onto a bouquet of tea roses. Oops. Juliet strode across the lobby to the fitness center's administration office. I swear that looked like she was doing that on purpose. Am I right? I looked at Alma for validation. Blame it on the rain. Really? I looked harshly at my friend. That was rude. Elliot was her friend too. Don't let her get under your skin. Alma moved towards the Mambo Size studio, and I followed her. And don't make her an enemy. Be Swiss. Like chocolate? I asked. It was an inside joke from our geography class days. Ha ha, like neutral. That's all you got.
That was great. I love the El
Thanks.
Dorado reference.
Yep. So much
Felt
fun.
very Miami.
Yeah, there's a lot of Spanglish in it, and you know, people should know that it's all translated. Just trust the author. It's really all translated. You don't have to have like taken, you know, 4 or 5 years of Spanish. It's
You
all
will
there.
be
with
okay.
context.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's
Okay.
I was able to, again, I have cool friends. I was able to read it early, and I don't speak Spanish at all. And I was just like, I understood it. And I was like, I appreciate that you didn't try to be like, you know, like make it really obvious, but I was able to understand what you meant by these words. So I kind of felt like, okay, cool. This is really like
Good.
feels
That's good
authentic to
feedback.
me.
I'm super glad to hear that. That was my intention, and I'm glad that came through.
Yeah, it worked out. Do you want to give us like a big picture setup on the book? Just like.
So Miriam Quinones, she is a food anthropologist, and she's just gotten her PhD. Like the ink is hardly even dry. And
Such a cool
they've moved
thing.
from New York down to back to Miami because they've got a 4-year-old kid, and you know, rent's expensive, and all the stuff that goes on with having a family. As Alex laughs at me.
Yeah.
Right? So they moved back down to Miami, and Robert's family are very to-do people. And they helped them buy a house. So she's kind of now in this really rich neighborhood where she's like a working class girl from Hialeah. So there's a whole bunch of tension between Robert's very founding family's kind of family and her very much working class mentality. You know, she talks a lot about money. She's like, oh my God, that's so expensive. You know, I've never had a kitchen with, you know, quartz countertops and all this stuff. So I play a lot with some of that stuff. And it's fun. I hope people enjoy it. I hope there's a little bit of humor in it because, you know, that's why you read a cozy. It's you know, you're going to have all the justice that you want, but you're also going to have some good puns in there too.
I love the mother-in-law character. I think I like with Tori's book. I feel like the mom, who she kind of gives a hint of, was a great character. And I think your book has a great character. One of those like love to hate where you're like, but also you kind of like love her, so.
Yes, we all love to hate Marjorie.
Yeah, that was a great reading, and we're so excited that you could be a part of this. I can't wait for people to discover the book.
In October.
Really yeah.
Where are you doing your launch?
Books and Books, Coral Gables, of course.
Excellent.
Are you doing it in person?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. They're doing social distancing, and you have to wear a mask. But luckily, the space is nice, and
It's great.
there's the flow over to the patio if we need to. So I'm very excited about it, and really super thankful that the Books and Books people were open to us doing it in person. So
I may actually be down there in October, so maybe the stars will align.
I thought you said the star is gonna come. I was like, oh, really?
No. I'm not the star. Raquel is the star.
That's so cocky.
When do I ever talk like that? That's awesome. Thanks so much, Raquel.
No, thanks for having me.
Let's talk some more cozies and traditional. So there it is.
Wow, what a lineup.
I think it's funny. I started off writing traditional, which I thought was a cozy. And when I started, I think it was like Alexa. I think Frankie, well, it was a lot of people. Frankie, Ray, and Gigi all had their series, and Alexia. And then Valerie came out the same year as me in 2017. And then Mia came out the last year. So I've read, I think, a lot of these books. We talked about Gigi already.
Yeah, we talked about Gigi. I don't read a lot of cozies. I've read a lot of these because they're great. Mia's I read recently, and it's a great kickoff to a series, and it's so funny, and just
it's great because it's kind of has all the tropes of like, small town, going back to the small town. It has really good food in it, but it's a Filipina American, and she's its very own voices, and so it's very authentic. Kind of like how with Raquel's, you kind of get a very authentic view of of Latina and Miami culture. For Mia, it's in a Chicago area, and it's Filipino American, and the food, you don't read it when you're hungry. You'll be so mad at yourself.
Yeah, unless you can get Grubhub really fast or something.
Yeah, and Valerie is VM Burns. I want to give her credit. I think she is probably like the most prolific cozy writer of color recently. Like I think she's like 3 or 4, 2 or 3 series out, and and she's always working. And she writes. I'm so jealous. She writes so fast. So fast.
Yeah, it's great. And we talked about Gigi's book, but I am so excited to finally read it. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and Alexia, she's been around. She's won a Lefty for hers, and her books, I think she's like 5 or 6 deep too. And hers is really great because it's about a Black woman who's a classical musician who moves to I think Ireland, and starts solving crimes with a ghost who was like her favorite musician.
As one does.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of cool. So if you like paranormal, definitely check out Alexia's books. So.
Yeah, and Frankie's also amazing. I haven't read a Dead Man's Honor yet, but she's a legendary author, and it's this this is just a starting point. If you want to get into cozies or traditional mysteries, this is a great place to start.
Yeah. And also this one is with Ray is the first book in her Johanna Hudson series, and it's about a genealogist, which I think is really, really cool. So I love how like there's so many different worlds, like like a food anthropologist, a genealogist, like that you can a magician, you can kind of learn through cozies. Also all books, but I love with cozies. It's like that's just like so much.
Yeah, there's so much depth to the subgenre. I think people just write it off very quickly for whatever reason, and there's a lot going on there that
I can tell you why. I think this is what I think. All
right, yeah, tell us. Let's get into it.
I have opinions. I think people I think because a lot of women write it, so I think a lot of people sometimes want to discount that because it's women. And also I think to me murder is like the worst thing you can do to somebody, and so to make murder funny, that's hard.
It is hard. Comedy is so much harder to write than straight drama.
Yeah, especially when not like these some of these books, no offense to them, it's like one like hot guy comes into a room and kills everyone with one gun. Like that's not to me as hard as trying to make you laugh while discussing a murder, So I feel like cozies need to get a bit more credit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I think even with hard-boiled or noir, you need to have that bit of humor. Otherwise, people are it's just doom and gloom and pain and anguish. And it's a bummer. Yeah. You have to lighten the mood a little bit. And, humor is so much harder to write than drama. So hats off to cozies.
I definitely agree. So should we go to the next reader?
Yeah, let's bring up John.
So this is great. John is, he's going to tell us a bit about. Hi, John.
I'm so happy to see you.
Yes, and I like his background too. His looks very sexy.
Yeah.
Well, I write sort of historical noir, so I gotta,
sexy it up.
Set the mood.
Yeah. Before we get into your book, because I do want to talk about it, let's talk a little bit about queer crime writers and how it came to be and the story.
How we can find more about you guys.
Yeah, well, I know.
There's Kellye.
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you guys so much for inviting me to be part of this program and inviting LGBTQ authors. I mean, I think that Crime Writers of Color is just doing such an awesome thing. And so we aspire at queer crime writers to be doing something similar and continue to partner with you guys.
Sure.
The place to find us, actually, probably easiest place to find us is on Twitter at QW of Crime. And really what we are is a group that supports LGBTQ crime writers. And that's not just published crime writers. That's anyone who wants to publish crime. We have a closed group where we kind of discuss issues and share insights and kind of do monthly check-ins and that kind of thing. And then, of course, we like to promote each other on Twitter and other platforms. And we're in the midst of working on a website, which Kristen Lipionka, who really, I think, kind of set this whole thing rolling. Hey, Kristen.
Kristen's awesome.
She's awesome and has done so much work. It is still a work in progress, and we are still making progress. So we certainly, I think hope to continue to do cool things and get things moving like you guys have.
Yeah, and we'll continue to partner and help work on things together because I think it just makes so much sense. Is that a piano behind you?
No, it's actually a record.
Okay, I was going to say, is he going to play like a?
I'm going to spin around and play a tune, and then.
I mean, that would just be too amazing.
Yeah, no, I know it would if I could only do that.
Yeah, no, but
it's my writing.
I'm hoping you're going to read from your new book because I love how you flip the script on the femme fatale trope and. It's just really an amazing piece of work.
Yeah, well, I've always loved the femme fatale character, and whenever I set out to write something, I'm like, why am I attracted to this kind of character? And so I ended up, I'm also a high school teacher, so I ended up writing about two high school girls and writing a kind of sympathetic coming of age story for two femme fatales as they solve a crime and then become somewhat criminal themselves. And so it's kind of a twist of like it's got some it's historical, so it's set in 1948 DC. It's got that element to it, but it's also a lot about women during that time period and also queer women during that time period. So it's playing around with a lot of tropes, but also pushing against those tropes at the same time. I'm super excited about it. So
you got blessed by the queen of teen noir and Megan Abbott.
I know, wasn't that amazing?
Was an amazing blurb? Yeah,
so it's an amazing blurb and incredibly generous of her to.
She's great.
So she is great. She is.
And it comes out October. You said already? Or you said that already?
Yeah. So it comes out October 5th. Actually,
wow. My birthday month is going to be lit.
Yeah, you're going to be busy.
If you guys want to give me gifts, you know what to give me. John's book, Raquel's book.
Yeah.
So, shall I read?
Take it away.
Okay, so it doesn't take much setup. It's at the beginning, close to the beginning of the novel. This is when my two main characters, Philippa and Judy, first meet. And this is from Philippa's perspective. And she's new to DC at this point. That's all you really need to know. All right, here we go. Today, I met someone remarkable. I was staring at my mountain of spaghetti at lunch when an elbow jabbed me. A gossipy girl, Betty Barb Bess, something with a B, pointed across the cafeteria and whispered, Judy Peabody, the one with the bangs. She drops bricks on cats. She kills them for fun. This girl, Judy, held herself erect and gripped her tray like a battering ram. Her jet black bob sliced across her forehead and fell in sharp angles over her high cheekbones. Over her long black sweater hung a double loop of faux pearls, like a flappers from an old silent movie. Other kids scattered as she strode to an empty table and sat. She arranged a napkin in her lap, pulled her sleeves back, and tucked her pearls into her sweater. Her every movement felt choreographed, and I wanted to know more. Who was she? And why the dated outfit? And what exactly did she do to cats? Before she ate, she scanned the room. When she looked in our direction, most of my table mates, the Metro Baptist Bible School contingent, commonly known as the MBBS girls, burst into an explosion of gasps and side jabs, as if spotted by a vicious predator in the wild. A few of the older, more skeptical girls huffed, rolled their eyes, and adjusted their Peter Pan collars. I sat perfectly still. During the first weeks of school, the MBBS girls threw their arms around me, all good cheer and high-toned cooing, but their embraces felt fake or unsure, like they were pinching my flesh, seeing if I were one of them, the real thing, whatever that was. But I was testing them too, and they were failing. They gossiped and backstabbed and babbled endlessly about boys. None of them read books or even newspapers, just 17 and Ladies' Home Journal and, of course, the Bible. Their minds were nets, only catching the fluttery and flimsy bits of life. On the surface, Judy and I were totally different. I had big, messy strawberry blonde hair that I trap in a ponytail. I dress in pastel sweater sets, bobby socks, and own pairs of saddle Oxfords in various color combinations, black and cream and taupe and chocolate. It's all a disguise, of course. I want to blend in, a strategy I learned from moving around as a Navy brat. The blue-haired crone who taught me history in my sophomore year told my father that I was such a sweet and accommodating young lady. It's true. I always check my first impulse and edit it out. Adults do it, so I do it too. But it wears on you, the politeness, the pretending. There was nothing sweet and accommodating about Judy. Apparently, she kills cats. I loathe them too. They make my eyes water and my arms and legs break out in hives. Their back alley screeching slides under my skin. Of course, I'm not going to kill a cat, but from where I stand, it's justifiable homicide or felicide. Seriously, is it even possible to bomb a cat with a brick? When Judy's eyes met mine, I smiled. In return, she scowled and it stung. I bowed my head and began twisting my congealed spaghetti into a tight ball around my fork. For the rest of lunch, I slurped down my noodles, and as I took my last bite, a shadow passed over me. I looked up, and there she was. Welcome to paradise, floated from her lips, tinged with scorn. But the heat of her glare had been replaced with something else. Confusion? Curiosity? I wasn't sure. Then suddenly, violently, she smiled. It was a cool, inscrutable smile, but all the same, it gave me a strange shock, like accidentally catching a reflection in a mirror. I felt seen by her, or was it that she'd seen some hidden part of me that the others hadn't? It was horrifying and thrilling, and I was temporarily struck dumb. I wanted to say something like, "Nice to meet you," or "The spaghetti was revolting, wasn't it?" But before I could, she was gone. Thanks.
Ooh. Wait, so are you a dog person or what?
Yeah, what's a cat?
I am a dog person, but I love cats too.
But it doesn't seem like it.
And she has good reasons for it.
Oh, you have to read the book, you guys, in October to see why the cat. How did you do research for it?
So lots of things, from watching old film noir. I've done a lot of research on the period because of my first book, Dodging and Burning. So the time period played a big role. It's also Judy and Philip are exactly my mom's age, or would have been my mom's age. So it's interesting to sort of look at the history, from a living source and think about women that time period. And of course, the book is full. Both these girls love literature, and it's one of their things. They're really sort of enamored with their English teacher, and so there's all this sort of great stuff from stuff like like what their fascination with Wuthering Heights to Macbeth to all the stuff that kind of gets woven into the story.
That's
so
great.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about the book before?
No, but otherwise, just remind people it's coming out October 5th, and I'm super excited to share it with the world. So,
are you going to try to do a live launch?
So yeah, actually, I'm kind of doing two really. I just moved to Richmond, Virginia, so I'm doing a local bookstore called Fountain Books. Great bookstore.
It is a great store, yeah.
And then Tara Laskowski and I, who we were grad school buds and friends, and we have books coming out a week from each other, and her book is coming out a week from mine, and so we're pairing up and doing a politics and prose event on the 16th in DC.
Oh, nice! Yeah, I just read hers recently. It's really great.
It's really good. It has a really great twist in the middle.
And we think we're there's a lot of question marks about live or not live, so.
I hope that it goes hybrid where it's like you can do it live, but they also stream it. Cause I love just being that, like, it's like now, like Murder by the Book, like none of us are in this area. So it's just like, it's just really cool. We can do things like this, you know?
Yeah.
I think hybrid is going to be the new modality. So
I think we just need to kind of drill down on the tech side to make it work. But it can be tricky.
It can be.
But yeah, John, it's always good to see you. It's wonderful to hear you read, and we're so happy that you were part of this.
Well, thanks again for including me. You guys are great. Thank you to Gigi too, and everyone that planned and organized this, and of course, Murder by the Book.
Yes. For sure.
Yeah. Support your indie bookstores.
Yes, if you're watching this and are captivated by any of these great readings, or if you saw a book that piqued your interest, make sure you pre-order it through Murder by the Book, or order it, and they'll get it in your hands. Yeah. All right. Now we're talking mystery and historical. Yeah. This is Marco's debut, and he can join the pantheon of great writers who have novels named Blackout.
I thought that. I was like, Blackout.
Yeah.
But his is obviously different than yours.
Yeah, it's very different.
You know, it's about an unlucky encounter, and choices that leave a 40-something photographer, Franco, in the sole and rather unreliable witness to a murder across the street. Which
I love that cover. Yeah, it's. I think it's going to do really well. So congrats to Marco on the big debut. And I always say this, but Tracy is one of my favorite PI writers, and Runner is just the best Cass Raines book yet. The best book in a great series of PI novels.
No, I haven't read Runner yet, but I read her last one, and Tracy, plus she's so nice, so it's hard to hate her, but she's such an amazing writer. You want to hate her.
She makes it seem easy, which is
really
the biggest compliment.
Hate her. I want to hate her
so do I.
Much. I kind of do hate you, Trace. So
a little bit. Jealous but happy.
Greg, to me, he has one of those careers that I think we all kind of aspire to, where he's been around and he's just been really putting out books and being consistent.
He's so prolific and kind, and just does a lot for the community. He's the executive VP of Mystery Writers of America, and just a great person, and very supportive of other authors and the community, and super talented. So it's kind of
he's in the New Orleans area, so we're sending good vibes to him and everyone there, that they stay safe.
Stay safe.
Not bad at all. So, and obviously we just heard a really great historical. So Donna Massey is just also, I feel like her career is something that we all want to have, where it's been over 20 plus years, several series, and this one, her books, it's been such a great new series for her. I think it was Soho?
I believe so, yeah.
And won the Mary Higgins Clark Award, the first one, and she's also really just a sweet, giving person, and always a big cheerleader. So
yeah, you can do no wrong with any of these books.
Yeah. And I read Persia I love just anytime I could find a book with a mystery with a black woman or a black person in it, I would gobble them up. So I read Persia years ago, so it's really great to see that she's still working on stuff. I don't know about this one, but I know her other books are set in Harlem, during the Harlem Renaissance, which is a great period. So it's really cool to read.
Yeah, this one's on my pile to read soon, so I'm excited to dive into it for sure.
All right, what's next?
Awesome. Next up, we have David. David's gonna read for us.
Hi,
hey there,
David.
Hey, everybody.
How are you?
David, are you nervous? Are you nervous for tomorrow?
A little bit, yeah.
You're not nominated for an Anthony Award.
I am indeed.
Yes.
I'm not renting a tux. I rented a tux in my little office here for the Edgars. I was on camera all of about 15 seconds, so I'll be wearing a suit.
You can get one of those aprons that's kind of like a tux.
Yeah, and I will wear an eagle feather. You can see it on the wall behind me. Native American people we're the only people allowed to have sacred eagle feathers. It's a federal offense for anyone else. That one was gifted to me by a medicine man at ceremony, and so I only wear it on special occasions. So I probably will wear it tomorrow.
Oh, hope
Awesome.
it's good luck.
David, is this the first time we're meeting, like virtually?
I know
I feel like we must have
Bouchercon a couple of years ago briefly
Yes.
with my
Yeah,
then
it was like a
editor,
2
Zach
seconds.
Wagman, who I think is your editor now, as I believe, right?
Yes. All right, so we're like editorial cousins.
Yep.
Sibs, you guys are Sibs.
Yes,
Zach
we are.
Zach has good taste. Also, he's a cool person.
Yeah, Zach is great. He's he really made the book sing, and I'm sure you can relate to that. What are you going to read from?
Well,
Winter
I'm going to
Counts.
read a little bit from Winter Counts. So the book has been out for a year and 2 days. This is the paperback cover. The paperback came out July 6th. Here is, I don't think anybody has seen this yet. This is the UK cover. This will come out September 30th from Simon & Schuster. So HarperCollins brought out the US version, but I sold the rights to Simon & Schuster. Now, I don't know if y'all can see this, but take a look who is the top blurb there.
I don't know who that is.
Cosby.
Never heard of him.
Who is that? I don't know who that
S.A.
is.
Cosby, they kicked off Tommy Orange for the top blurb and inserted S.A. Cosby. So Simon & Schuster is doing this. It's a very different concept, but I love this cover. So I'm going to read a scene from that. And I do want to note, too, before I get to reading here, that if anybody likes Virgil Wounded Horse, and you've been reading my book, I have a new story in Midnight Hour. A lot of us do here that are reading tonight. But there's a new Virgil Wounded Horse story coming out in this collection, which comes out, is it September, I think? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, or so.
I believe
Maybe
so,
October.
yeah.
I feel like
It's a great
everything's
collection.
October, my birthday. I'll have to Google it.
Everything circulates around Kellye's
It's
birthday.
It is, exactly.
As
I'm
it
glad
should.
you broke that. I'm glad you guys realized that.
All right, we can't wait to hear it.
Anyway, so I'm going to read a little bit from Winter Counts. I'm going to read a different scene. I have read the first chapter of the book so many times. Poor Tori Eldridge, if she's still with us, has heard me read it twice, and I just felt that I could not, subject her to that again. So I'm going to read a scene that I've only read once before. So just to set this up, this is from a couple chapters into the book. So my protagonist is Virgil Wounded Horse, who is a hired vigilante on the Rosebud Indian Reservation. I'm a citizen of the Rosebud Indian Nation, or in our language, the Sichangu Lakota Oyate. And I'm sorry if you can hear my Bichon Frises barking. So anyway, I am a dog person. And
No cats.
no
cat murders in this.
Anyway, so Virgil Wounded Horse is a hired vigilante on the reservation. Felony crimes frequently go unprosecuted on native reservations because of reasons that I need not get into here. So people will hire vigilantes to go out and get some street justice on their own. So the hero of my book, the anti-hero, is Virgil Wounded Horse. He's also the legal guardian of his 14-year-old nephew, Nathan. In this chapter, Virgil comes home. He's been at a sweat lodge ceremony, and he checks in on his 14-year-old nephew, Nathan, whom he is raising. So here is in Virgil Wounded Horse checking on Nathan. I'd had enough for the night, so I went to check on Nathan. I could see that his lights were on, so I turned everything off and I covered him with a blanket. I opened the door and I saw that he was passed out on the bed, all of his clothes still on, one arm hanging down at the side. Dude, why don't you get into your shorts and get under the covers? He didn't respond. Nathan, let's go to bed. I'm tired. Still no response. Nathan? I looked at him closely. His face and lips were gray, almost blue. I saw an empty balloon, a lighter, and some crumpled, burned foil on the floor. There was an acrid vinegar odor in the air. Oh no. Nathan, wake up, get up. I tried to sit him up, but he was too heavy and he fell back onto the bed. I pulled his eyelids up. His pupils were tiny and dark, like miniature black holes, and his skin felt cold and clammy. I slapped his face hard. Nathan, open your eyes, wake up. No response, but I saw his chin move just a little. I ran to the living room for my cell phone. The IHS hospital was 50 miles from here, and the tribal police station about 20. The tribal cops were my only hope. My hands shaking, I dialed the number. Police. This is Virgil Wounded Horse. My nephew, he's overdosing. He won't wake up. You need to send, what is your address? Please hurry, he's unconscious. I need your address, sir. He sounded pissed off, like I was stopping him from going home after a long shift. 83 in Spidergrass Road. We're the only house out here. Just stay on the phone with me, okay? Is he still breathing? I think so, yeah, but not much. Stay on the phone. Stay on the phone, all right? Just hurry. How old is he? He's 14. He's only 14. I flash back to Nathan as a little kid, playing with some toy car I'd given him. What difference did it make how old he was if he was overdosing? How long has he been down? I don't know. I just found him. Do you have a car free? The dispatcher sounded angry again. We're on the way. You said it was an overdose? Heroin, I think. There was a balloon and some foil on the floor. Do you know how much of the drug he took? How the fuck should I know? I didn't know he was doing that shit. Just trying to help. How much does he weigh? Maybe around 140. We'll be there soon. Just stay with me, okay? Can you stay on the line, sir? I let the phone drop to the floor. Black cloud entered the room, taking up all the oxygen, all of the air. I couldn't breathe, so I let the darkness envelop my lungs, my skin, my body. Sir, I heard the voice on the phone from far away. Are you still there? I picked up the phone. Yeah, I'm here. How close are they? Do you know how to do CPR, he asked. Kind of. Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? Not exactly. I need you to start chest compressions right away. You remember that movie, Saturday Night Fever? Movie, what are you talking about? I need you to put both hands on his chest, right on top of his heart, and press down hard. Do 100 compressions a minute. Think of the disco beat from that song, Staying Alive. The song from the movie. Use that beat on his chest. Put the phone down now and do it. Keep doing it until they get there. I pulled up Nathan's sweatshirt. His skin wasn't brown anymore. It was a strange shade of gray, and it felt weirdly cold and damp. I clasped my hands together like I was praying, and I put them right over his heart. I'd always hated disco music, but my mother had played that old Bee Gees album constantly when I was a kid. I couldn't remember the lyrics, but the beat of the song came back to me instantly. I pushed down on his chest steadily, like I was dancing at a 49 party. Was I pressing too hard? Did I need to press harder? I focused on the beat of the music as I forced his heart to pump blood through his veins. Staying alive, staying alive. As I pushed, I tried to remember the Indian prayers my mother used to say to me. I'd heard them so many times as a kid. It seemed urgent that I remember just one line, but nothing would come. How was it that I could remember some shitty disco song from years ago, but I couldn't remember my mother's own words? The weight of my failures, all of them, felt like a shroud wrapped around me. As my nephew lay dying in that little house, I sent my words up to the Creator. Please don't let this child die. I will do anything. Just spare him. Spare him. Thank you.
We have to thank Tori for being able that we got to hear that. So thank you, Tori.
Wow. Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's like the scene I remember from the book, and like that staying alive thing is such a great detail. So amazing.
Thanks, guys.
Do you think you're gonna have more books with Virgil?
Yeah, I'm writing it right now. Echo Press, they are eager for the next book. So I'm curious,
how's it going? Because I always think the second book under contract's the hardest to write. How's it going? Is it going okay?
It's been rough. I've had a year of promotion nonstop. Nobody.
It's hard, yeah, when you're hustling for the book, yeah.
I'm a debut author, so I didn't know about any of this. I didn't realize that, there's just, I've done over 100 readings, panels, you name it, and writing articles, it takes so much time, but I'm thrilled. I'm honored. The book has sold well. It's been nominated for some awards, so I'm delighted.
It's won some awards, McCavity and Barry just recently.
Congratulations.
You're on fire.
But I think you hustle so hard for the book. It's so impressive. Like I do publicity as a day job. And so watching you kind of do the grind of promotion like nonstop is super impressive and inspirational. So you earned every little bit of that, for sure.
Well, thank you. And I just want to point out, I have a day job, and I take on extra jobs. Well, I teach in a couple of MFA programs. I come from the working class. I don't say no to jobs. When somebody says, "Do you want to do something?" I'm like, "Yes," So I'm a full-time professor, but I teach in a couple of MFA programs, and I've got 2 teenage boys running around. So writing time has been scarce. But I'm going to a residency in 3 days in Chicago, and gonna just really try to write the heck out of this thing.
Do you have a deadline for it yet?
Say it again.
Do you have a deadline for it yet, or no?
I do. Late January.
Oh my God, that's my deadline. So
that's
good luck.
Probably what mine should be too. Well, we're so happy that you were able to join us for this, because it's Winter Counts was such a seminal, such an important book over the last year and change, and it was really special to hear that scene read by you.
Yeah, I'm so glad we have to hear it. Thank you for premiering that scene.
And let me just say, I want to thank you guys for the support. It's been fantastic. Thank you, Murder by the Book, and thank you all the readers and supporters. It's been a rough year for those of us coming out with a debut during the pandemic, but you guys have made it really great for me. So thank you all, and I really mean that. In our language, we say "Wopila."
Good luck tomorrow, David.
Thanks.
Yes, I'll be watching.
Yep.
Also, Alex is up for 2 Anthony Awards. He's just very casual about that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. MBD, yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, now we're in the noir category. This is some good stuff here. 3/5 it was a really powerful debut that kind of blew me away when I read it. John's next book is coming out from Soho Press, if I'm not mistaken, and
I think it's a bit
eagerly
more,
awaiting that.
Yeah, a bit more literary, but I know with 3/5 it was nominated for the Edgar, the Anthony, the Strand Critics Award. I feel like him and Angie were killing it last year, So it's really cool with this group of people. We have some really great backgrounds. Jose's book is like a retired private investigator in New Orleans, which would have been
Chris Chambers is a displaced man in DC.
That got a star review. Scavenger got a star review from Publishers Weekly.
Yeah.
So, and then I know Faye and Marcy. I think Marcy has a new book coming out. I don't know if this is the one that she's spotlighting here, but she has a new book coming out, I think, soon too. So.
Yeah, so if you like your stories extremely dark and ominous, these are great choices, and you do great starting with any of these. And now we're kind of speeding towards the end. It's been an amazing evening so far, I think. I mean, I've enjoyed it. I don't know how. I always enjoy hanging out with you, though, Alex. So. Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, it's just like we're having a group chat. And Wanda's going to close it out. Hey, Wanda. Wanda Morris is the debut. She's on the cover of Library Journal, guys. This is we have a cover. We have a cover girl. This is our Beyonce. This is our Beyonce with us. The star has arrived. How did the Library Journal happen? Give us details.
You know what? I kind of don't know. I just got this call from my publicist, and she's like, the Library Journal wants to talk to you. Have you heard of it? Well, actually, I had. Thank you. Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, well, that's great. And then she emailed me back, and she's like, they're interested in doing the cover, so they'd like to send a photographer out to your house. And I was like, what? And a photographer. Wow. Yeah. That's legit. Fancy. A photographer. That's legit. So I was like, send your best author photo. So it was really cool. It has been a surreal experience. Well, because it comes out in November. It comes out November 2nd. Also, exciting. I did look it up. Midnight Hour comes out. The anthology comes out in November as well. So not my birthday, but close enough. Close enough. Yeah, you can still. You'll probably have gift cards left over too. Yeah, you guys can still give me. You can pre-order and give it to me the gift. And I just loved all her little secrets. I got a chance to read it early. I feel like it's very. I don't know if you would be like. It's very to me. It's like very John Grisham because of like a legal thriller and kind of like a lot of stuff is going on like The Firm but it's this Black woman, so it kind of deals with those unique experiences of being a Black woman in corporate America. So I'm just so excited for you, and I'm so excited that you're getting all this attention. Yeah, I definitely got some Grisham vibes from it too, but it felt very modern. Yeah, it was definitely your own take. Yeah. Do you want? And I'm assuming you're going to read from it now. Yes. So this is chapter 1. It's a little short prologue, but this is the actual first chapter where Elise Little John, who is the protagonist, has been summoned to her boss's office. And so this is her arriving. Now I'm wearing these glasses, not because my eyes are fading me, but because William Morrow makes the print so small. I'm just kidding.
Thank you, William Morrow.
I love you, William Morrow. I'm just kidding. Chapter 1. 6:45 in the morning was far too early for keeping secrets. But Michael and I are lawyers, and that's what lawyers do. We keep secrets. Attorney-client privilege, confidential work product, ethical rules, all the $10 terms we use to describe the ways we harbor information from prying eyes. I hustled through the parking garage, a veritable wind tunnel on a cold, blustery January morning, and inside the lobby of Houghton Transportation Company. Houghton Management proudly announced its corporate prosperity and success to visitors with an entryway of gleaming chandeliers, polished steel, and veined marble floors. Inside this sleek glass and metal cage, we raced around for 10 and 12-hour days in our hamster wheels of closed-door meetings, video conference calls, and potluck lunches in the break room. It was so early, the security guard hadn't even shown up for his post at the front desk. Good. No clumsy banter. The only sound in the lobby was the click-click of my red suede Louboutin pump skittering across the marble floor to the elevator bank. I pressed the call button for the 20th floor. I don't drink coffee, but I wished I'd brought a travel mug of tea or a bottle of water with me to wash away brain fog. Morning meetings weren't unusual for us, but this one was particularly early, and I'm not partial to sunrise secrets. As the elevator rose, I closed my eyes for a moment and leaned into the wall. Michael is the executive vice president and general counsel, and worked under him as assistant general counsel in the legal department. Michael was cryptic in his call the night before, maybe because someone else was nearby. Let's meet in my office in the morning, 6:45. I didn't press him. He did the same thing last week, a late night meeting that lasted over an hour. Only we didn't talk about work. We didn't even have sex. That time, he wanted me to sympathetically listen while he complained about his wife. My better judgment told me I needed to end this. So many years, so much time wasted. Michael was gorgeous, with chiseled features, deep blue eyes, and the tall, trim stature of a Kennedy from Cape Cod. If anyone had seen us together as a couple, we would have made quite the sight. Me with my tall, cocoa-hued, coily mane and jiggly midsection against his slim, button-down wasp frame. I've stood 5 feet 8 inches, 6 feet in the right heel since I was in the 7th grade. Men are either intimidated by me or challenged to climb and conquer Mount Elise. Honestly, I think men are attracted to the darker side they see in me. What makes her tick? But Michael was different, or at least that's what I told myself. He matched me in every way, height, intellect, and humor. He's my equal, except for that pesky little business of a wife and 2 kids. I was stupid for sleeping with this man. Vera and her friends had a saying, never get your honey where you make your money. I should have gone somewhere different after leaving Dillon and Beck, the law firm where we used to work. But he made me a generous offer and I followed him here, and nothing had changed. Despite all his promises of a new beginning and a different work-life balance as in-house counsel. Maybe one day I'll get my shit together and go find the job and the life that I deserve. The elevator pinged and the door slid open onto the executive suite. Everything on this floor was plush, soft and expensive, unlike the utilitarian budget-friendly accommodations 2 floors below in the legal department. I paced past the darkened offices of the CEO sycophant, more commonly referred to as the executive committee, before I reached Michael's suite. Everything was dark here too. If he dragged me up here at this ungodly hour and forgot about our meeting, I'd be royally pissed. The company's reserve lighting system created a menacing tangle of shapes and shadows in the empty office. A small pitter-pat of fear slid through me as I flipped the light switch. His assistant's desk was neat and orderly, just the way she always left it. I tapped lightly on his door. Michael, it's me, Elise. No answer. My skin prickled. I opened the door and flipped on the lights. The bright crimson spray of blood was everywhere. Shock raced through me like a torpedo before landing in a hard knot at the pit of my stomach. My knees buckled as a tidal wave of nausea washed over me, like I would be sick and fade into black at any moment. But I didn't panic. I didn't utter a sound. The star-shaped hole in Michael's right temple was ragged and grisly, like someone had tried to open his skull with a sledgehammer instead of a bullet. Blood oozed in ragged streams along the side of his face, creating diminutive red rivers and wrinkles along him at the end of his chin and trickling onto his starched white Oxford shirt. The air hung thick with the acrid copper scent of blood, and a hum of the fluorescent lights, the only sound in the room, was like 1,000 bumblebees. An instant later, my mind clicked as if someone else were inside my head directing me. Run. Just go. I turned my eyes away from Michael's lifeless body and the gun beside him. I hated myself for what I was thinking. Amid all this carnage, my first thoughts were to run, to leave without calling for help. No one knows I'm here. I slowly inched away from his body, careful not to touch anything. The few shreds of conscience I had left warned me that to leave would be reprehensible. I prayed to God for forgiveness, turned off the lights, and quietly closed the office door behind me. This would be the last secret between Michael and me.
Wow, that was fantastic.
That's so great. I'm gonna call you out. That was her first time reading, you guys.
I cannot believe that. I refuse to believe that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great.
It is. And I have been a nervous wreck. I've had all sorts of technical issues.
Oh, you handled it like a pro. You were amazing. Yeah, that was great.
It's funny. I feel like writing a book and reading a book are so different that it's hard. I hate reading. I hate reading. I hate doing it.
I like organizing.
Right, because you don't want it to just be flat. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we're not like audiobook narrators, so it's kind of always like I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, Tori sounds like an audiobook narrator. She's just a great reader.
Yeah.
No, that was great, Wanda.
Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
yes. And
anytime.
November, right? For
all her little secrets. Congratulations on the great, amazing
all our
debut.
Little secrets.
Yeah.
Cover girl. Goodbye, cover girl.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you for everyone who came. Yeah,
thank you so much.
Evening. So,
I felt like that sped by. The whole reading, the whole evening's gone by so quickly. It's been such a fun ride.
Yeah. I'm going to kind of shout out a couple other authors. We have Elizabeth Careyman, who I adore her. She's a Pretty Evil New York. Remember, she first got this idea.
It's a great book.
Yeah. Forrest is one of our emerging authors. Just like Queer Crime, we have a lot of authors who are, not yet published, working on it, and so he's one of those. We have so many of them.
It's one of the best parts. One of the best parts about Crime Writers of Color is that we have authors in every stage of their career. We have veterans, we have newcomers, and it's a lot of support and mentorship and friendship and just community, which makes it so special. And we have some great short story writers too.
Yeah, Jessica Lane. I know she not only is she part of Bouchercon next year. I think she's a really great short story writer. She was an Eleanor Taylor Bland winner, so it's really cool to see her doing that. So we have a really great group of people. So very, very cool. And just Alex, this has been fun. Yeah, this has been amazing. It was just nice to hang out with you for a couple hours and talk about books. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I'm so excited for next year, and hopefully we can do it in person. So yeah, and we'll definitely do some events together. In March, the biggest month of next year. Ever, guys. Bigger than my birthday. Bigger than my birthday month, you guys. It is my birthday month, so we'll be good. But huge thanks to John and McKenna at Murder by the Book. Thanks so much for having us. This was really special. It's been a treat for us. You guys made it so easy. Like, I know McKenna reached out and said, hey, we want to do this. You guys immediately came up with a plan. You got everybody on board. Gigi made images. This has literally been one of the easiest events we've done to set up. And it's also been one of the most watched we've had in a good minute. So thank you everybody who was tuned in. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you, Gigi, for making the images. Thank you, Alex and Kellye, for keeping things running and chatting with everybody this evening. Thank you to Tori and Raquel and David and John and Wanda for reading. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I know McKenna had been dropping links, so I just wanted to mention a couple things. Make sure you come back next Thursday when we chat with Raquel Reyes about these toxic things. We're doing a virtual event with Tori Eldridge in September. We just confirmed an event with Greg Herron for his new books.
Oh, yay. I have to watch all this.
We're doing a midnight hour signing when it comes out. We're just working on, Abby's going to be the one moderating. We're just working on panelists. And I just emailed Alifair Burke today. We're trying to set something up with her and Steph Cha for the new Best American Mystery and Suspense stuff. So lots of great stuff.
Awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm so excited about that Best American Suspense. Like, it's like Steph and Alifair knocked out the park. Like, just seeing the table of contents, the people that have contributing, and also
I'm in it.
Alex is in it.
I don't know how I snuck my way in there.
Yeah, it's just amazing, and it's just I love the breadth of stories that they found, the diversity, inclusivity, and I just love that. I just love the new direction that anthology is going. It's a much needed direction.
Yeah, it's like an all-star lineup.
It's good to have some new blood.
As soon as McKenna saw that Alifair and Steph were editing it months ago, she immediately emailed him. Was like, "We want to do something." So today I was like, "Hey, remember we said we want to do something?" So everybody, stay tuned. For that, you can always check out murderbooks.com for the full list of events. We were also dropping links if you want to see some authors like Mia Manansala, V.M. Burns, Christopher Chambers, Sean Cosby we've interviewed. We've done Kellye, we've done Rachel Housel Hall, Walter Mosley. So if you want to see any of those previous author events, just scroll through the Murder by the Book Facebook page and YouTube channel because they're all there. We hope you will check them out. And so I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have been amazing tonight. Thank you so much for keeping things running. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Thanks so much. Take care, everybody.